Hello everyone, welcome to Off the Cuff, and this is a special edition. We are here on location at Little Maggiano's in Troy, Michigan, and we are at Pinktober, which is an event that the Lebanese American Chamber of Commerce puts together, and with the infamous John Akouri, who has assembled some amazing individuals here to really talk about breast cancer awareness and also highlight some amazing women. And one of those amazing women we are very fortunate to have sitting with us right here today is Jocelyn Benson. She's the Secretary of State of our great state of Michigan and has hit the ground running since she has taken on this position. Jocelyn, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's wonderful to have you here, and thank you so much for being here. It's been one of my top list items to actually contact you and just talk about the amazing things that you have been doing and working on as Secretary of State. So what has been your focus, and what are the changes that you have actually made? And we really see it within the offices themselves, but what are the things that you've paid attention to make those changes?
Well, as Secretary of State, I oversee all elections and all motor vehicles in the state. And so it's really important, because we interact with everyone, that we are as close to citizens, everywhere as possible. So we've made a lot of changes to bring our offices closer to the community that we serve. But broader than that, my overall goals are to reduce wait times in our offices and increase turnout, voter turnout in our state.
And as I said, it shows. It definitely shows. And you have also not only paid attention to those things, but you've also highlighted some different things in regards to the very short tenure that you've already had. So you made quite a bit of changes. So tell us about those committees that you have formed. Some amazing stuff. So I'm going to let you talk about that.
Well, I'm an academic by training. I was a law professor, a civil rights attorney, and a dean of a law school. So I believe in bringing the best ideas to the table and making informed decisions based on data. And so that's why I brought the best and brightest to our state to advise us on election security, which is a top priority, administering our elections in a way that are safe and secure, and also engaging young people in our democracy. So we formed our state's first ever collegiate task force to get college students of every background involved in telling us what we can do better to serve them.
And our voting process really needs attention, especially within our national environment at this point, at this time. And we are hoping that in the future, the voting process is a little bit more clear, more concise, and more transparent. And through those commissions and committees, you are doing that. What is the role of the younger generation within this process, and what can they do to be part of the process a little bit more, have their sort of finger on the pulse of this, and be part of the process to ensure that, as a country, we do have transparency, because obviously maybe my generation is not doing the best job here.
Well, we are at a unique moment in the history of our democracy where it is more important than ever that our electorate, every aspect of our electorate, be informed and engaged. And that includes our young voters as well, making sure they're also prepared to inherit our democracy for yet generations to come. And so we have a specific focus on changes that will help engage young people. And a lot of the voting changes that were enacted in the Promote the Vote effort last November, in particular allowing citizens to register to vote up to and on Election Day and vote by mail, has really impacted our young voters. We see more young voters taking advantage of those changes than anyone else in our electorate, and I think that bodes well for the future of our democracy.
Sounds like a plan. I do hope the young people go out and make their voice heard. Also, what do people expect as a change when they go into the Secretary of State? Because I remember having to go in and going, oh God, this is going to be an all-day thing. So what are the actual changes that we can see?
Well, it can be an all-day thing if you don't plan ahead. But fortunately now, if you do plan ahead, you can make an appointment and be in and out in under 30 minutes. That was part of fulfilling my 30-minute guarantee promise that I made during the campaign. In June of this year, we made it so that in every branch office throughout the state, you can make an appointment, be seen right away, and be out and on your way within 30 minutes or less. And in addition to that, we're going to be finding ways to ensure, even if you don't make an appointment, we're reducing wait times. So we've got a lot more changes planned, and we also are recognizing that more citizens have to come into our offices this year to get a real ID.
Nice. So what are the things that you have planned in the future? Are there any specific ideas, any specific programs, anything that you plan on focusing on once all the things that you hit the ground running on are completed?
Well, in addition to our branch office modernization effort, we're also working to implement Michigan's first ever Citizens Redistricting Commission. We've just launched applications for that commission at redistrictingmichigan.org, and now for the next 8 months until June 1st of 2020, citizens all across the state can apply to serve and be selected to serve on a commission that will draw the next decade of maps for our congressional and legislative districts.
Your tenure, and I'm going to say it, at Wayne State University as the dean, the dean of the law school there was really amazing. And I know when you say you want to get closer to the community, you really paid attention to every student and made every student feel very comfortable. I know my daughter went there, and you had a relationship with her as well. And I know there's so many different students, and I think you personalize what you do, and you really affirm that in your first comment and saying we're trying to get closer to the community and trying to find out exactly what the community needs, and that's transparency. That's what you call an individual who wants to do the right thing and do the job well. So thank you so much. The Secretary of State's office, it's their advantage and definitely the law school's loss, but you're doing amazing things, and I think your legal background too is just very valued in that position. So thank you for everything you do. Thank you for hitting the ground running, making those changes, and having a vision for the future of the state of Michigan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to working with you and hope your daughter's doing well.
She's doing amazing, and I look forward to having you come to the studio and have a real intricate conversation in regards to what you do, because it is fascinating and it affects everybody's lives. So thank you, Jocelyn Benson, Secretary of State of the state of Michigan, and we will see you back inside.
Welcome to our 15th annual Pinktober Autumn President's Power Lunch. It's a delight to have each and every one of you here with us today. Give yourselves a round of applause. I'm John Akuri, and I am really happy to see yet another room filled wall to wall with people who care very deeply about our community, about breast cancer awareness. We know there are some survivors and some patients in here. You're going to meet a wonderful group of people today as we continue the program, but I want to feed you. So let's get the first things first out of the way, and if you'll permit me, I would just like to formally offer you a welcome, invite to the stage our chairwoman and our sponsor of today's event, one of our co-sponsors, Brigitte Jaward Hashem. Ladies and gentlemen, Brigitte.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and dignitaries. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. Throughout history, she was the greatest source of inspiration. Poems, books, and paintings were devoted to her. It was not without a reason, because she held an enchanting mystery within her. She's the fountain of life and love. She has the power to create, nurture, and transform, whether it's healing from an illness or taking charge of her life and others. An embodiment of beauty, kindness, pride, self-sacrifice, and dignity. Apart from protecting and nurturing her family, she contributes to half of society and the workforce. She is a fighter, a survivor, a daughter, sister, wife, friend, and mother. She is a woman. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 15th annual 2019 Pinktober Autumn President's Power Lunch Tribute to Women. Special thanks to our executive board members, sponsors Jeffrey Lanza Booth, the Booth Law Firm, and Infinity One Corp. Thank you, and special thanks to John.
Thank you, Brigitte. Thank you so much for doing this and for being with us. I would like to call up to the stage our honorary chaplain, the Very Right Reverend Father Tony Massa, to deliver the invocation. Abuna?
Thank you. Let us bow our heads, please. We gather today to celebrate the strength and resiliency of women, especially those who have and are fighting against breast cancer. We thank you, Lord, for the blessings you have bestowed upon us, especially for their strength, and especially also for the inspirational and invaluable women in all of our lives. This event allows us and allows so many wonderful and hardworking women and men to come together to share ideas and to help combat breast cancer and the effects of this terrible disease. Bless our work, our conversation, our sharing, and infuse us with love and charity to work hand in hand for a cure to end a disease that affects us all. As we come together today, as women, as men, as professionals of all kinds, may our work help to fortify and encourage wonderful organizations like the Pink Fund and all of the great people and organizations helping to find the cure. Bless our food that nourishes our bodies, giving us the strength to continue this labor of love and charity. And as we share and grow with each other, help us always to be both mindful and good disciples who work to help those who are in need. And we ask this in the name of our Lord, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Father. To perform an American rendition of a patriotic tune, you will be singing today, God Bless the USA. Would you please join me in welcoming once again gospel recording artist Yasmin Suri. Thank you.
Just my family
Wow. Thank you, Yasmina. Another round of applause. That was remarkable. Magnificent. Bravo. To lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, I invite Lieutenant Karen Kumar of the Salvation Army, and yes, the team from the Salvation Army at Farmington Hills to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Karen?
Thank you. Would you stand with me as we say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. At this time, I would like to invite Sergeant Angela Holly of the United States Army to call for a moment of silence for our troops stationed around the world. Sergeant Holly, and your colleague, please join us. Yes.
Can we bow our heads for a moment of silence for our brothers and sisters who have served all over this country? Thank you all for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you both for your service. I would like to invite our Chairman of the Board, Lou Peters, to come up. Mr. Chairman. And to our leads, we have something in the refrigerator, if you could bring that out. It's pink. Thank you. We'd like to make a couple of presentations, and so I invite Lou, and please join us, Brigitte. Come on up. There are two individuals that have done such remarkable work in the area of breast cancer awareness, working with patients, working with survivors. They have contributed so much that we thought it only proper to recognize them specifically today and at this luncheon. And these two individuals work in the health and wellness industry. They're very well known in Michigan and across the country and even globally. So what I'd like to do is ask both Dr. Yahya Basha from Basha Diagnostics, Open ORI, to join us. Please come on up. And my German girlfriend, Dame Margot Kohler. Would you please come up to the stage? Margot, you are the pumpkin of all of our eyes. And we couldn't think of a better gift to present you than a crystal pink pumpkin. Just our token. Yes, give her a round of applause. Our token of appreciation. To say thank you for all you do. It's quite heavy. You got, okay, oh, she's good. She's good. So, I'll tell you what, I'm going to take that back from you and give you the microphone and have you say a few words.
Thank you very much for inviting me today. And I would like to thank the community in Birmingham for supporting the wellness and skincare for all of us. We always felt that there's no competition. The only competition we have with ourselves. And believing in ourselves for the daily routine we have to do or we like to do, I think it will give us a much easier life. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. And while I got all your attention, and while Margot is standing here, I'd like to announce to all of you that next year, Margot Day Spa in Birmingham will celebrate its 40th year. Wow. Congratulations, Margot, on 40 years. She was one when they opened. So, Mr. Chairman, would you kindly assist Margot and take that back to her seat for her? Margot, thank you. Dr. Basha, you're known around the world. Your contributions are global. We couldn't think of anything better than a pink globe to say thank you for everything you do. Thank you, and God bless you, Dr. Basha.
Well, thank you all. You know, definitely we owe the women in the world our presence. Without them, we could not exist. And thank you. And thank the board.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Now, Chairman, come up here with me for 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, would you join me? I think Yasmin will lead us in the song in singing Happy Birthday to Chairman Peters. Happy birthday, Lou! Check it out. Yasmin? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Chairman.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Everybody, I don't know everybody, but most people I know, you've been great. And John, I want to thank John for putting me in this position, keeping me in this position, and everything he does, and for doing this for me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Our chairman, ladies and gentlemen.
And by the way, as you can see, I can always like to say, nobody can do this. No chamber, nobody. John Curry. Thanks.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you. Happy birthday. Congratulations to our honorees. We love you, Margot and Dr. Basha. Happy birthday to our chairman. And we're going to start eating. And the salads are on the table. We've prayed, we've sang, we've honored. I just want to make a couple of quick welcomes and introductions. We have a number of diplomats that are with us here today, and it is such an honor for us to welcome you. Joining us for the third year in a row from the Consulate of Mexico is our very dear friend, His Excellency Fernando Gonzalez Saifi. Welcome. From the United Kingdom, Great Britain, England, all of the above, His Excellency Nicholas Stasevich. Welcome, Nick. Our chamber was run out of her building in the early days of our organization back in 05 and 06, and it was a treat to be able to see her on a daily basis. She just came in because she's constantly in Istanbul or Ankara. She is the Consul General of Turkey. Ladies and gentlemen, our dear friend, Her Excellency Nurten Yor. On our board and in our hearts is one of our dearest supporters and dedicated friends. She is the Chief Probate Judge in Oakland County Circuit Court. Her Honor, Linda Hallmark. You're all very special and important to it. Dr. Mahmoud Al-Hadidi is here. Welcome to Dr. Al-Hadidi. Delighted to have you here. I attended a dinner at the Michigan Muslim Municipal, and it was just amazing, the community council that you put on, and I thank you. We are awaiting our Secretary of State, who will deliver the keynote address immediately after lunch, so bon appetit. Program going, I would like to deliver her opening remarks to welcome to the stage Stephanie Faki.
Hello, good afternoon everybody, and welcome to the Lebanese American Chamber of Commerce Autumn Power Lunch. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Stephanie Faki, and I am an active member in the chamber. I joined back in 2013, and I was telling John that I remember being a young attorney in a very male-dominated field. I practice in criminal defense, so it's not often that you see a young woman coming into the courtroom. But I would turn to the events like this that John would host, and in particular this event in October in support of Breast Cancer Awareness Month and also in honor of women in leadership. And I remember even back in 2013 coming to my very first Power Luncheon and witnessing these remarkable women telling their stories and giving me so much inspiration for my own journey. So without further ado, I would like to present my friend and attorney extraordinaire, Jeff Aboud.
Thank you, Stephanie. And thank you to John for putting this event on every year and all of the other events that he does. He's great at, obviously, as most of you know, and if you don't know, I'm sure you'll find out today, bringing people together and just introducing everybody to each other. And it's not only a organization that's led to business, it's also great friendships that we've all formed with each other. So thank you to John. I think we're all very pleased that the person that's about to speak to us today is a Harvard graduate, is former Dean of Wayne State University, our Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson. We're very fortunate to have her here, and I think regardless of which side of the aisle you're on, we could really appreciate what she's done for our Secretary of State's office. So I'd like to welcome Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here with all of you today. I wanted to be here last year, actually. We tried to make it happen and couldn't, and it was one of the, knowing the force that is John Corey and how hard he works to bring the community together and ensure that relationships are formed and the work that you all do is celebrated and honored. I tried really hard to move things around to get here last year and wasn't able to, and so we made an extra effort this year to fit this in because I really wanted to be a part of it. I've heard about this gathering, and this is my first time here, but it won't be my last. John, I appreciate your leadership, your enthusiasm, and your just like irresistible commitment to forward progress. So thank you, and thank you for your leadership. And of course, Jeff, thank you for your friendship. Stephanie, wonderful to see you as well. And all of you, so many of you I've known throughout the years, many I'm meeting for the first or second, or seeing you for the second time today. But consider you all allies in the work that we all do to ensure our state leads in business, in community, and in inclusion. So I'm honored to be here to talk to you today about some of the work we're doing at the state level, at the Department of State, to further those values of being inclusive, values of service, of community, which really to me transpire to make democracy healthy. A healthy democracy to me certainly is reflected in whether people are voting and engaged, whether elected officials are receptive and listening to our constituents, but at the same time, it's really a reflection of the broader community. Are we all as a state and as a city and localities engaged in decisions that are being made every day that affect our lives, our families, our workplaces, and the service that we give to our state and that you all give to our state. So with that, I want to talk in particular about the career path that led me here today as your Secretary of State, and highlight some of the ways in which Michigan is now leading the way under my administration to modernize our elections and improve our democracy. As your Secretary of State, I have the honor of overseeing both all of our elections and our motor vehicle licensing throughout the state. But I don't come to this job as a politician. I come to it really as an educator, as the daughter of 2 teachers, as the former dean of a law school, but I also started my career at the Southern Poverty Law Center, investigating hate groups and hate crimes throughout the country. And it was really there, living in Alabama, shortly after graduating from college, that I was instilled with a deep commitment to continue the work that's come before all of us to ensure that our country is really living up to the ideals in our Constitution of equality, of access, of equal protection for all, and equal opportunity. And so for me, I became an attorney because I wanted to protect the right to vote, and in furtherance of that, protect the rights of every American to ensure that everyone has equal opportunity to succeed in our country. I built a career as an academic. I wrote a book on the Secretary of State's office after noticing how important these individuals were to ensuring our democracy works. And it was really after writing that book where I was inspired to run for this office myself. And so it's been unique now to serve in a position where I am seen as a politician. I'm working in politics, but in my heart, I'm still a community member, the daughter of teachers and a former law school dean, and refer to myself as more of an academic than a politician. And that really has helped me, I think, in this role, approach it, and I often tell my team to be in Lansing, but not of Lansing. We recognize that there are a lot of challenges, political and otherwise, to the way our government is structured today, but to come in wanting to reform things through data and making solid decisions, building partnerships, bipartisan partnerships across the aisle to get things done, and really reflecting the type of leadership that I've learned through working with business leaders, community leaders, academics, nonprofit leaders, leaders in the sports industry where I most recently worked, and taking best practices from every industry and applying them to our office. So my approach as your Secretary of State is to lead with really the same conviction and dedication to the guiding principles of our democracy as when I started my career. In my administration, we're really trying to shift our philosophy. I'm committed not to saying you come to us, but we want to come to you. We want to meet people where they are and work to empower everyone to ensure they have access to our democracy and to our branch offices across the state. I'm passionate about reducing barriers to the Secretary of State office, and I hope to partner with all of you to empower and engage citizens in your community throughout the state. In my view, and one of the reasons I'm so excited to be here today, is that I think it's vital that members of the Lebanese American community, just like other communities across the state, are included, are empowered, and are partners in ensuring that everyone knows about their rights and opportunity and participating in our democracy and in our economy. So I have two primary goals as Secretary of State: increasing engagement and decreasing wait times in branch offices. We're actively working on a comprehensive approach to do both through modernization and to better understand the unique needs of our state. I have visited every county, all of our 131 branch offices in the first 100 days of my administration. Make no mistake, while we are combating many barriers to streamline our branch office functions, we're committing to making access to our services more efficient and equitable across the state, but that requires partnerships with each and every one of you. Each of you as business leaders, as community leaders, you are connected to people that our office is not connected to, but who we serve. And so in that regard, I hope to learn from you and be partners to all of you in serving your community effectively. And that takes place not just in ensuring licenses and driving is equally accessible, but also, of course, making sure our voices are heard as well through our democracy. A central commitment to my administration is the idea that our democracy is at its best when all voices are at the table and are able to participate in the process. And one of the ways we work to do that is to engage with communities who've previously not been in the table or been marginalized throughout the history of our democracy, whether it be communities of color, poor voters, young voters. We want to ensure everyone has a voice and is taking advantage of many of the new opportunities that were enacted through ballot initiatives last year. And that's what I just wanted to talk about briefly, and then I'll open it up for questions. So last year, there were two amendments to our constitutions enacted. One created more opportunities to vote and be registered to vote in our state, and the second created opportunities for citizens to draw the district lines for our congressional and legislative districts. And so I'm really here today to ask you to be a part of educating your community and engaging your community on both of these things. On the first, citizens can now register to vote up to and on election day. And we now have had two elections where we've seen the impact at the local level of that change. In fact, in our May election and in our August elections, local elections where not a lot of people participate, but I know in many communities where you are, they were held. We saw hundreds of people register to vote and vote on election day that were eligible to do so. And what that means is because of these new laws, citizens who wanted to vote, who previously would not have been able to, were able to register, vote, and have their voices heard on local matters that affect them every day. And the amazing thing about that is of those hundreds of individuals who took advantage of that new right, the vast majority were 18 or 19 years old. An example, in May, there were 400 who registered to vote on Election Day and voted. Over 300 of them were 18 and 19 years old, so vast majority. And so what we saw is when students, when young people, when citizens know about these new opportunities, they take advantage of them, and they particularly work to engage our young voters. So we want to seek your partnership in telling people about this, letting people know that now you can register to vote up to and on Election Day in Michigan at your local clerk's office, and you can vote by mail. You no longer have to go to a precinct to cast a ballot. You have a right to vote by mail by requesting a ballot ahead of time be sent to you without needing to state any reason or excuse. So we hope to have your help in educating people about this, particularly as we approach next year's election cycle. The last thing I just want to mention is an incredible historic moment we're also now in our democracy, with just last week launching the applications to serve on Michigan's first ever Citizens Redistricting Commission. That was also enacted last year. We're only the second state in the country to have this opportunity, where citizens, 13 in fact, will be randomly selected from a pool of those who apply to serve and have the complete authority that legislators used to have to draw our congressional, legislative, and state senate districts. What that means is that as of now, right now, you can go to redistrictingmichigan.org, fill out an application, submit it. All the information and instructions are on there. If you have any questions, just email redistricting@michigan.gov and they'll get answered right away. If you apply to serve on this commission, you'll be entered into a random drawing that will take place in June of next year. The application process is open from now until June 1st of next year. And the random selection process, there's a couple of different layers to it, and it will ultimately lead to the random selection of 13 commissioners, 4 Republicans, 4 Democrats, and 5 independent voters seated on this commission. They'll take office next fall, and they'll have 1 year to draw the maps for the next decade for our congressional districts and our legislative districts. I mentioned this, I encourage you to go to redistrictingmichigan.org to learn more, but because it's vital that every community in the state feels that they have a seat at the table in this process. There's no previous education required, no previous experience required, just a willingness to serve and also be compensated. You get $40,000 if you're chosen to be on the commission, but to really serve the citizens of the state and ensure the voices of your community are heard. So I truly hope everyone in this room applies for an opportunity to be on this commission. I hope you encourage your family members, your community members, your neighbors to apply as well. Again, redistrictingmichigan.org or any branch office, you can get an application as well. Again, it's a historic moment, an opportunity for you to draw the districts that will lead to the election of every member of Congress, every state legislator, and every state senator in this state. So that's some of the exciting things that we're working on in the department to boost turnout, engage citizens of every background in our democracy, ensure that our redistricting system is fair and transparent and citizen-led, and also make sure that we're working to modernize our branch office services to reduce wait times and make those services more accessible for every community. So thank you, John, for the opportunity to come here today and tell you a little bit about our work. I'm honored to stand here before you and excited to work with you in partnership to make sure our state truly is inclusive and reflective of every community. I'm happy to take a few questions. I think I have time to take 2 questions, it looks like. And so I love the opportunity, and then I know you've got an extraordinary panel of female business leaders and community leaders coming up shortly to share with you their perspectives as well. So,
any questions? Excellency.
Yes.
Secretary, thank you for your remarks.
Good to see you.
Great to see you. Just if you could share your thoughts about the next census, the Census 2020. Why is the census important, and how can we engage our communities to fully participate?
Yes, thank you so much, sir, for that point. Wonderful to see you again, and thank you for that point. But I know it's very important to you as well. We've got a census coming up as well in the midst of all this work we're doing next spring that will determine the counts, the population, and the resources, the federal resources that are sent to the state as a result. It is particularly incumbent upon us to make sure communities that don't always have a seat at the table, as you all know too well, have a seat at the table for this, and their voices are heard. And the way we ensure that happens is to ensure we have an accurate count of every community in this state, and and that we demystify the process and engage people in filling out those census forms. So our branch offices are going to be a partner in that. We're working with community leaders if there's anything we can do to inform your efforts. But it's truly all hands on deck in the state of Michigan, because the amount of people who participate in the census will determine the amount of congressional leaders that we get representing us in DC, and will determine federal funding for many, many things for years to come, as well as, of course, the count that goes into the legislative and state senate districts too. So it's a critical moment. It will lead to opportunities if it's done well, and we need your help, again, engaging your leaders, your community members in being a part of this. So thank you. And you can go to census.gov, which has many other information about it and answers a lot of questions about the process.
Any other questions? All right, and we'll get on with the show. A big round of applause for our Secretary of State. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause once again for our Secretary of State. A year ago, she was a candidate, and today she's our Secretary. Thank you very much for coming. Have a safe trip back to Lansing. Thank you. Thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you, Katie. Thank you both. All right, at this time, I'd like to invite our main stage moderator, Candace Stearns, and our panelists to come to the stage. Ina Levinson, Samar Schauscher, Brooklyn Lambert, Rachel Hurst, and Mary Jordan Abeljoud. Please come on up. Candace?
All right, we're gonna have a seat. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone coming out today, and I know your time is valuable, so let's get right to it. What I'd like to start out, or how I'd like to start out today, is to just pass the mic down the line and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are, and all the entire panel is obviously a wonderful group of very distinguished, strong, powerful women who are servant leaders in the community. So we'll have you start out.
Thank you. Thanks. My name is Ina Levinson. I'm the Vice President and General Manager of the Saks Fifth Avenue, a couple doors down. I've lived here for about 7 years, but I've been with Saks for 38 years. So a little hard to calculate because I tell everyone I'm only 35, but I'm not. But this is such a great community. I met John Corey 7 years ago when I moved here. He was one of the first people I met. And Stephen in the back from the Townsend, he was the second person I met. And Margot, I constantly am frequenting her spa. It's helped me keep myself together. So it's so nice to have all this community is just so wonderful. So it's really been an honor and a pleasure. And it's great to be here. I don't know if you just want to introduce us or just...
Yeah, if you want to just go.
Okay.
Just casual. Yep, down the line.
Hello everyone, it's so nice to meet all of you, some for the first time, some I'm seeing again for the second and third time. I am Mary Jordan Abeljoud. I am new to the FBI field office as the Community Outreach Specialist, and every day I'm out in our community meeting wonderful people who are out doing wonderful things for our city. And I get to work as a conduit, basically bridging people from the community to the FBI. So more to come.
Well, my dream job was the FBI, but here I am in PR. So I'm Rachel Hurst. I'm the Corporate Affairs Manager for the Kroger Company in Michigan. Excited to be here. I've been with the company for almost 12 years, so my role encompasses all of government relations, all of the philanthropy and giving, and then being the media spokesperson. So excited to be here, and this is probably the closest I'll ever be to the FBI, so this is a great day for me.
Good afternoon. My name is Brooklyn Lambert. I am a senior at Oakland University, but I am also involved in the Miss America organization. I have been since 2002. So yes, I was the 4-year-old who dreamt of being Miss America one day, and that is still the hope. So I'm Miss Great Lakes Bay at the moment, and I will compete for Miss Michigan in June for the 5th time, hopefully vying for the crown to go to Miss America next year. So cross your fingers. But I also work for the Detroit Tigers. I'm in Park Coast there. So I do a lot of fan interaction, so I have the microphone, asking fans trivia, doing all the things fan related to make sure that they have a good experience, whether or not the outcome of the game is good. And we all know Tigers baseball, we are rebuilding, we should say. So.
My name is Summer Shausher. I work for the Detroit Pistons. My role is in fan development, so my goal really is to use the power of sport to bring people together, whether that is nonprofit groups, businesses, or people. And my job is really fun. We're actually hosting an Arab American Heritage Night in April. Hopefully a lot of members are going to be attending that. In addition to that, I work with the community side, so we do a lot of youth engagement. We're also building 60 basketball courts in the Detroit metro area right now, so it's pretty exciting times trying to rebuild the city, so very exciting. Yeah.
Now I'm just going to ask all of you ladies to share a little bit about who has inspired you in your different career paths, and just give us some folks who may have been mentors as you've grown in your career path.
So I've had a lot of mentors. I don't know if I could pick anyone that is a celebrity, but you know, for me, I've had a chance for the last 38 years to grow and learn from people who inspired me. And one of the things that I have learned has been most telling in just managing people and being in different communities and just really understanding how people want to be treated and the respect. And you know, it's, you know, leading by example and leading people with integrity and giving them the opportunity to have a voice has always been something that has helped me in different stores and different roles, and being able to listen to people and not be that person who says, you know, my way or the highway. And I just think that, you know, managing and leading people in a way that is productive and makes them feel a sense of empowerment and leads to success. And so, you know, in a matter of speaking, I think that it's just been nice to understand what you want to be like and what you don't want to be like, and be able to impose that on other people. So,
you know, that's really well said. And I think for myself, I've spent a great majority of my life working in the field of fiduciary oversight and philanthropy. And so you find a cause that you can empathize with and really make a significant difference by contributing your time and your energy and your skills to raise money for a cause. And that in itself can be very motivating and uplifting, and sometimes I feel that we are, you know, to quote, like, you know, you want your children to go out in the world and do well, but more importantly, you want your kids to go out in the world and do good. And I am a first generation Arab American. My parents immigrated here from Lebanon by boat, and growing up we had very little. And my dad swept floors at Saunders and for 10 years, and he had hoped that he would learn enough English to pass the written test at Ford Motor Company so he could afford a better life for my mother and for my sisters and I. And that didn't leave a lot of money for education. So, you know, I worked full time, I went to school full time, and those were very trying times. I mean, it was a struggle, and I think many women here know what it means to struggle when you're trying to rise up from something like that. And there's a struggle between the cultural side and the, you know, the current side that you're living in. And so my parents, although they had very little, they were the first to give away something. If somebody needed something, we were there for them as a family. And I took that example that my parents gave me, and I took it and I man, I put it in turbo mode. I mean, I spent a lot of years of my life raising awareness and funds for organ donation and transplant innovations. And I think my mentors are anybody who's serving in any capacity for the benefit of somebody else, to make life better and easier for someone else.
Good question. This sounds like one of the cheesier answers, but I'd say my mother. I'm almost a 15-year cancer survivor myself, and she was a single mother. I lost my father when I was 11. Her through the tragedy of losing my father at a young age, and then 6 years later me being diagnosed with cancer, pretty much losing everything from, I can't even imagine. I at the time when I was diagnosed, heard my stepfather and her talking about even how to get groceries on the table. We didn't have prescription coverage because I had never been really sick, and so I'd say my mother. She taught me that no matter what, that she's gonna work 5 jobs, she's gonna figure it out, she's gonna do well for my 3 younger siblings. She would do whatever was needed, not only for the betterment of her family, but for others. And she still to this day would take the shirt off of her back to make sure somebody else was warmer than her, to make sure somebody else ate before she does. And in addition, really thinking about mentors in my career path. I'm the first woman in Michigan in my position. And I started the Women's Ed Group for the Kroger Company in Michigan as well to kind of lead young women professionals in their role in a very white-dominated industry. And I think it has been trying to learn, but my president, Jane Homko, she came from Houston. We were just previously speaking about her. She was a tremendous woman, and she was the first female president in Michigan. And she kind of just took me under her wing and really just taught me a lot about, for one, the industry, for 2, overcoming adversity, and for 3, never forgetting sight of who you are. Because it is so easy in any industry, really, to forget who you are when you're trying to compete to be better. And it's not always to be better, it's to be your best self. And as cheesy as that might sound, you really do have to live your best life, but you also have to live who you are the best as well in your career and through anything that you do. So I've learned a lot about myself overcoming my own adversity with health and really taking that to our women's group within the industry. And I think that I would still say my mother.
I'm going to piggyback off of that as well. Being 22 years old and involved in, I'm going to school full-time, I work full-time, I'm a part of a volunteer organization because the Miss America organization is volunteer-based. I work for the Tigers without a college degree. I've got a lot on my plate. My mom is there for me consistently 100%. And September 10th last year, she was diagnosed with breast cancer off of her first mammogram. She was only 42 years old when she was diagnosed, and within 3 months, we were able to call her a breast cancer survivor because of early detection. And because of her and her fight and everything that I've learned from her, it kind of gives me the strength every day to be able to strive to do my best in everything that I do. I mean, with her story in just 3 months, she inspired over 125 women to go into the doctor's office to get their first mammogram. And it wanted me to continue this fight as well, but not only with breast cancer, but with everything that I do. So we were kind of talking a little earlier about this, that I don't put my foot in the door unless I'm going to do it 110%. And that's what my mom has taught me to do, especially through her fight with cancer, but also especially in today's society, and being in the Miss America organization, a woman-based organization. I find that women are super empowering to other women, and some of my best friends get me through the day, when I have the hardest time, at school, or I commute back and forth, so I have a lot of time to talk to my friends on the phone to keep me entertained. But women truly empower women, especially when we're dragged out every single day. I mean, in the Miss America organization, we're sometimes used as objects or as people who are not worthy of, being in the spotlight or, going into sports broadcasting. It's a male-dominant field, and I want to be on screen, I want to be on the panel, and I want to be talking sports with males, but it's hard to do that. So in today's society, not only does my mom inspire me, but the women around me, next to me in this room, people I work with every day, they inspire me to do my best and empower others as well.
I'm going to piggyback off that a little bit, talking about more of my career and like mentoring into the sports industry. It is definitely very male dominant. And I was intimidated when I was younger looking up to these women, and I used to think, wow, this is so exciting that there's a woman in this role. And then I got to thinking, I shouldn't have to be excited. I think it should be the norm. I think that the people in those roles should be the best candidates, not necessarily because they're male or female. So all those women along the way, they didn't see me as competition. They saw me as someone that they wanted to help nurture and grow. So there's been a lot of women along the way who helped me get to where I am, and I'm grateful to be in an organization where there's actually, in my department, there's about 75% women, which is like a super exciting and rare thing in the sports industry. But now my goal is to give back and do that for the next generation of kids. So like anyone who messages me on LinkedIn or Facebook or I see on the street and ask me questions, I'm always willing to go that extra step and help them because I didn't always have that. And I'm hoping that, again, this becomes the norm, where it's not an exciting thing to see a woman in a position of power.
I appreciate that, ladies. I too look up to my mother-in-law and my mother both as cancer patients, and both unfortunately lost their battles in the last few years, but I appreciate you guys sharing that information with the panel and everyone here. I think we have time for one more question, and I just want to ask where you see yourself in the next 5 years with your career path and inspiring other young women in their career path.
So I hope to be here still. I love this city and the community, and the store is growing. And I have to say, in the spirit of raising money for cancer causes, SACS nationwide has done. We did an October event for 20 years. Henry Ford was the beneficiary of it for many, many years. We've done great events with Carmanos as well. So it's nice to be a part of an organization that gives back to the community and finds a lot of meaning in what happens here where the home store is. So I think that, you know, for me, I'm surrounded by people every day that inspire me, young people, like some of the people on the panel who are just starting out and have great careers ahead of them. You know, I'm sort of on the downside of my career, hoping to retire in the next 5 years, but also just have enjoyed a really great opportunity to grow within a company. I don't think anybody starts out their career thinking I'm going to be with the same company for 38 years. But for me, it kind of happened just because of great opportunities that I've had. So I love to mentor and develop people to be the best that they can be, and just, you know, especially women. We have a lot of males in our industry as well. So, but there's getting to be a nice fine balance there. So it's really nice, and it's nice to see women wanting careers in fashion and leadership. So that's inspiring to me.
Well, I hope to be with the FBI in 10 years, but you never know where fate will take you. But my plan is that I will still be working with the FBI. My journey was a little bit interesting in arriving to the FBI. I shared with you that my parents were immigrants, and when I shared with them after I graduated from college that I have an application in with the FBI, they were not happy. That is not what good Lebanese daughters do. They don't go around, you know, carrying guns and doing all these things that they perceived, and being that I'm just a little tenacious, I said, well, I'm doing that. And boy, fate stepped in and said, no, you're not. And instead, during the application process, I was blessed enough to meet the love of my life, and we married. Been married for 28 years. I've raised 3 beautiful children. I've had a career in public accounting. I had my own accounting practice for a little bit. I had the pleasure of pursuing another passion of mine, which was going to art school. And many times over the course of my life, I said, boy, wouldn't it be great to combine a degree or a career with my business acumen and my love of art, and put those two things together and get to enjoy those things every day. And that's exactly what my job with the FBI has afforded me. And I love it. Every day is something new, something creative, and I hope that going out into the public and speaking and meeting women, that I'm able to convince them that this is an ideal career for them. It is a career, and it's our logo, it is a career like no other. And I'm so in awe of going into work every day and meeting the type of people that I get to work with. I mean, the intelligence of these individuals and the commitment that they have to serving this country, it's just remarkable. And I feed off of that energy every day. So I do hope to stay here. I do hope to pass the message on to women. If you know any young women that are interested in a career, please come talk to me. I'll give you my contact information.
Is it with the FBI?
There's a job for everyone at the FBI. We have over 200 career options, and I never thought this late in life that I would be sitting here telling you that here I am. So the running joke for those that know me is I started out right after college on this path to being part of the FBI. Fate gave me a few bumps along the way, and when it was ready, it said, here you go. And it put me at the right place at the right time, and I started my process, and it took a while, but I embraced that weight of that process, and so I'm living my dream. And so I'm a little late to work, 30 hours or so, 30 years, but I eventually made it, and I have a story to tell.
Where I see myself in my career, for one, I did not see myself putting cans of bean on a shelf 12 years ago when I started. I was going to Fair State for criminal justice, hence the FBI went, and switched my career path to business management. So I see myself honestly continuing with my company, whether it become a regional director role covering multiple states across the Midwest and or corporate affairs director for the company. I see myself continuing that. I think it's important to have continuity in messaging and consistent messaging, and I truly do believe, and this is not just a PR statement, that although grocery retail is a changing industry right now, that the efforts that they are putting forth in the community are true. I can honestly say the work that we do with the community has really enhanced our reputation, and genuinely they want to do good, and I feel great about what I do each and every day. And additionally, I think from a personal side, I have two small children, 5 and 3. I hope to still continue to have patience, but I also want to continue to inspire others, whether that be women leadership or those that are fighting their cancer journey. I've been a survivor speaker for several years, and I want to continue to do so. I think it's sometimes difficult after overcoming your journey to continue to stay positive and not fall into the depression slope. And I think it's important that we all work together to give hope to others and encourage others along that path and to continue their fight, because I wouldn't be in the role I am today if I just said I'll settle for okay. And I think that it's important that we all need to do so. So personally, I think continuing to inspire others, empower others, and then hopefully take a larger public affairs role within my organization.
5 years from now, well, I hope to have a full-time job. Not be working 3 and trying to pay college out of pocket so I don't have student debt when I graduate. It's funny because all my friends are graduated now, and I graduate next December because I actually was a dance major for my first 2 years of college. I've danced ever since I was 3 years old, and I grew up wanting to dance basically on Broadway. But my body tells me differently, and that I can't do that forever. And then I got the job with the Tigers, and I realized my love for sports, and that's when I realized I wanted to be on camera. I want to be on the panel and discuss sports every single day. So with a communication degree and a minor in dance and digital media production, I'll graduate next December. Yay, good. Go Grizzlies. But But I want to live in Detroit. I want to work out of Detroit. I think Detroit is a great city. If you don't live in Michigan, if you're not around from Detroit, people think Detroit is a very scary city. It's not. I love Detroit with my whole entire heart. I'm especially working right on Woodward Avenue. I'm being right next to Ford Field, Little Caesars Arena, Comerica Park, and seeing just like how much it has grown. When I was little, I was always told that Detroit is a terrible place, never to live there. And even some of my friends still say that, but it's because they haven't experienced it. You go down to Detroit and you see how much it has truly grown and the city that it has become. And I know you can probably speak amongst that as well. So I do find myself in Detroit unless I find myself, in a completely other state doing completely other things for a complete another station. But I would love to work for FSD, Fox Sports Detroit, or for the MLB network as a whole, because I truly find that my love is with baseball. My brothers have played baseball, my dad is a baseball coach, I work for the Tigers, so I don't see myself distancing from that anytime soon. But yeah, hopefully, I find the love of my life and all the good things, have a house, but for right now, I'm just trying to get that degree and get a full-time job.
A lot of what I'm doing now with work is planting the seeds for the future. So I'm really hoping in 5 years I'm still with the Pistons and I'm seeing kind of the growth from everything that we've done in the community aspect. A lot of our community and youth engagement has actually we're sponsored by Kroger for her Pistons Academy youth programming, which is pretty cool. But seeing those courts being built and seeing the Metro Detroit area being built up, and then also just giving opportunities for people to get involved in sports, I find that sports are a safe space and it's like an equal playing field for anyone, regardless of age, gender, socioeconomic status, culture, religion. It's like a very safe playing field. And when I look around the arena and I see the diversity in there, it's a really great feeling, and I hope that we can keep increasing that. I hope we can fill the seats. I know that's a struggle for all of Detroit sports teams right now, except the colleges, but we are working on that. And I hope we're rebuilding. I really hope, if you can't tell my accent, I'm from Canada, born and raised. So, shout out. So yeah, I was born and raised a Raptors fan, so last night I was very torn watching the Pistons and Raptors play. I won't say who I was deeply cheering for, but it was tough. And so yeah, my goal, I guess in 5 years, stick with the Pistons, hopefully we fill the arena, and I see the growth from all of these seeds that we've been planting.
I want to be cognizant of everyone's time, and we're going to wrap up here, but I wanted to, before we're finished, ask, I hope I'm not putting Molly MacDonald on the spot, but I'd like her to come up and speak now a little bit about the Pink Fund and to tell us more about your organization and how you help others in the community.
So, you want me to sit in your chair? Yes. So, 14 years ago this month, I was standing in the basement of St. John's Episcopal Church at 11 Mile and Woodward at the food bank. I had completed treatment for breast cancer 2 months earlier, and my April 1st diagnosis had caused me to lose my job opportunity. It derailed it right off the tracks. I had was transitioning between jobs and about to get the first six-figure job. And with that diagnosis, I couldn't work. The irony is that I, for many years, lived a life of privilege and luxury. We had floor seats at the Pistons games. Saks would actually close their doors and would shop after hours with a personal shopper, and my clothes were delivered to the house. But in the fall of 1997, I drove up the driveway to our beautiful home off Vaughan Road in Bloomfield Hills and saw a note on the front door about the size of a rat card. My 5 children Ford a 13 strapped in the back of my gas-guzzling Suburban, and I pulled it off. And I read that the house was going to be auctioned off in 30 days. That night I had a very unpleasant conversation with my children's father, during which I learned the deal he was pursuing was being fronted with our own financial assets, and we were in the hole $15 million. So, within a few weeks, I sold what I could, took my children, rented a house for cash, and began the transition from the life of, I call it surf and turf, to fish and chips. And just as I was about to get back on track, get the kids off Medicaid, off school subsidized lunches, being able to save a little money, that breast cancer diagnosis slipped us right back into where I was standing on the edge of a financial cliff, about to go over and potentially join the ranks of the homeless. And it terrified me because I had a degree from the University of Michigan, and I was thinking we're going to end up in a cycle of poverty, which we know can take up to 3 generations from which to emerge. So while I was in treatment that summer, I met a lot of other working women like myself who were on unpaid leaves. They had much longer, more toxic treatment protocols. And they were thinking about stopping treatment because they couldn't work, they couldn't feed their families. They were plowing through their retirement. They were thinking about putting their house on the market. And when I went to the social worker and asked for some help, is there anybody who could make few non-medical, non-negotiable bills on my behalf? She just stared at me blankly. And then I had this epiphany. This is the part that I don't get. I thought, well, if I can't get help for me, maybe I'm supposed to give help to somebody else. And I believed that I could start a program and make up to 90 days of non-medical, non-negotiable bill payments to patients' creditors for housing, transportation, utilities, and insurance. So I had an Eros Saarinen kitchen table, which I traded for our heart and ribbon logo. And I took $50 that I should have used for gas or food, and I bought a book called How to Form a Nonprofit Corporation. I made a vision board, put Ford Motor Company on it. We're now in the 9th year of that partnership. And I began speaking, going out kind of telling my riches to rags story. My dog and pony show was a plaster cast, 32-pound plaster cast of my bust prior to my surgery. And I took a ADT sign out of the front lawn of our home. We didn't have ADT, we couldn't afford it, but I had that sign there. And I put an octagon-shaped sign, slapped that on top, it said, "Bust Stop." And so I went out with the bust. And I'll just fast forward to today. We have paid out close to $4 million in bills to patients' creditors. But I want to talk about belief just briefly. Because when I shared with people this idea, they just looked at me and said things like, "Wow, you're really a dreamer. What makes you think you can do this? You're standing in line at the food bank. Your house has just been taken out of foreclosure because that house that I moved my children in and rented for cash and bought with the help of my 80-year-old mother who got a 30-year mortgage at 80, another miracle, I couldn't make the payments. My car was almost repossessed, the utilities were almost shut off. But I had this thing that I call, if I could put that belief that I could do this into a gel cap and create a pharmaceutical company, I could change the world. Because it's all about believing in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will believe in you either. Thank you.
What an inspiring woman, wouldn't you agree? Let's give Molly I had the pleasure of meeting Molly with another friend of mine at in a hotel, the Foundation Hotel downtown. And she's just a remarkable lady, and I really, really appreciate everything that she's put together with the Pink Fund. And what was it, $4 million you've helped pay bills for people. So again, if everyone can give Molly a round of applause for the Pink Foundation. So in closing, I will turn this back over to John. And again, I thank you for your time this afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for our main stage moderator, Candace Stearns. Thank you very much, Candace. Now, we have a little something that we'd like to present. Molly, come on up here. We want to celebrate you today. So on behalf of one of our sponsors, we want to present you with this pink Beatini. This is ready to go. Just chill and serve. It's martini.
Why even bother chilling it?
Go for it. There you go. So thank you. And we ran out of pink, So we want to celebrate each and every one of you. Samar, and Brooklyn, and Rachel, and Mary, and Ina. And we want to say thank you very, very much for being you, for coming up here, for taking time out of your day on Halloween to join us. So before you leave, I want to ask Lana and Donna to come on up. We're going to do a quick raffle. No money exchanged. Lana's going to walk around with a bucket, put your business card in there, and they've got a gift that they want to present to the winner of the business card. So let's have them come on up here and do that real quick. You guys can go back to your seats if you want. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great job. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're great. All right. And while they're doing that, I'm going to invite Lori Tanous to come on up, who's going to close us out today. Shall I bring the podium back?
No.
You sure? Ladies and gentlemen, let me make a proper introduction. You do, because you've been with us for over a dozen
When
years.
Stephanie was saying she's been here since 2013, I was like, how long have I been here? I think a long time.
2007, and she crosses the pond all the time to be with us. So, a member of our advisory board of directors and a dear friend and one of our longtime committed and dedicated members. Lori Tanous.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing your afternoon with us today. Thank you to Maggiano's for an excellent meal and to the sponsors today that made this happen. But I do want to say thank you to John, and I don't want to get emotional, but I might. John and I both lost our mothers to cancer, and whenever I look at him, I feel his pain, and I know he feels my pain. And when I see events like this today, the collective unity that happens at these kinds of events that would only happen with your dedication and your leadership, John. Okay, so I just want to say thank you very much for doing this. Because this gives us all the inspiration, I think, that we need, and that helps us to keep the good fight going. So I'm not going to keep anybody any further away from Halloween, because I love Halloween, I love junk food, so happy Halloween and safe travels, and thank you all for coming today.
Thank you, Lori Tanous. I also want to send a thank you to Margot, who our honoree today, who has left each and every one of you with a beautiful gift card. Go and see her. 40 years she's been in business. Please visit. You won't be disappointed. We love you, Margot. So those gifts are from Margot. The bandanas are from Molly and the Pink Fund. So thank you for that. You had some chocolate. That's from Basman. Fusion Gourmet Fruit, Sesame Squared. So thank you for those trick-or-treats. And at this time, are we ready?
Ready.
All right, everybody. Wow, that was quick. All right, did you get Eddie Ferris card? Dr. Dream McDreamy, I mean, Abu? So, in keeping with the spirit of Dios de las Muerte, which is tomorrow, I'd like to invite His Excellency Fernando Gonzalez Saife to come up and pick the winner. Did I say that correctly? Dios de las Muerte. I know it's tomorrow. All righty.
The first card or the third card?
There's only one.
Make sure you dig really good.
It's a card from Barcelona. Angelina Yushkuk.
Oh, wow! Thank you, Excellency. Annalena, congratulations. And this is important because you're about to head back overseas, aren't you? Back to Ukraine.
Chicago.
Well, Chicago, Ukraine, you know. Congratulations, Annalena. Wow, look at that. That's wonderful. Let me get a picture of all of you. Hang on a second, let's do this. Beautiful. All right, thanks, guys. Thank you to Team Fox. Thank you very much. And we love you. Thank you, Lana, and thank you, Donna. And those of you who knew that I emceed the annual Team Fox Detroit Gala that took place last month, it's because of these two here, Donna and Lana, besties for life. I hope to join that twosome and make it, a trifecta. So thank you both very much for coming out here today. Before we let the ladies, the panelists who spoke for us, leave, it is Halloween, and on behalf of Shadi, who's here with us from Patchy. Patchy is a Lebanon-based chocolatier out of Beirut. He would like to present to each of you this Halloween gift for speaking today. So thank you very much. You're very welcome. Brooklyn, thank you. Rachel, thank you. You won't find that at Kroger, I'll tell you that much. And I like Kroger, listen, by the way. I know. Thank you. And Samar. Thank you very much, ladies. So, all right. May I kindly invite Father Hanna Tayar to lead us in the benediction and send us on our way. Ladies and gentlemen, Father John.
The last word for me, John?
Yes.
May I say a few words before?
Sure.
Thank you. Why? Because first, I would like on your behalf, on my behalf, to thank John for this great event. Really, it is well appreciated. John, always you surprise me with those events, and you confuse me as a priest to be here or not. I start to be jealous of you. First, because for the time I missed all those great events you are organizing. And secondly, because always I see that you are surrounded by great people, good people, all the time. And God bless you. God bless the Lebanese American Chamber of Commerce for all what you do, and God be with you. And secondly, I want to thank you. Why? Because for the first time I could wear my pink shirt as a priest, and the other shirt that Father, I wouldn't do it if it was not for a great reason, great cause, what you are celebrating today. And third and finally, let us thank the Lord for what you are accomplishing. And I prepared a small benediction. Father, for the strength you have given us, we thank you. For the health you have blessed us with, we thank you. For the women who are going through breast cancer and their families, I ask you to strengthen and to heal as you see fit. Lord, we know you want us to be in good health and to prosper. May the Lord bless us all gathered here. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you, upon our countries, United States of America, upon Lebanon, and upon the whole Middle East countries, and give them peace. May the Lord, through the intercession of his mother, the Blessed Virgin Mary, lift up his countenance upon you and bless all of you in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. God bless you all, and thank you, John.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Father. Thank you to all of you, to our speakers, to our panelists, to everyone. And don't forget, the expo is still open. If you'd like to go back, if you didn't get here in time, or if you missed something, all of our vendors are still there. Please support them. They're members of the Chamber and partners with us. And finally, happy Halloween. Thank you, everybody. Drive safe and see you next year. Good night.
We are with the amazing Rachel Hurst, who is the Director of Corporate Affairs at Kroger, who does amazing outreach, who just supports some wonderful initiatives, as this one here, the Pinktober Fest regarding breast cancer and honoring those women. And Rachel was on the panel, as you've seen earlier. And we just want to talk to you as a breast cancer survivor. What is the awareness factor mean to you? And just thank God for you, and thank God for your recovery, and thank God that you are here with us today, spreading your goodness and also talking about how to be a survivor.
Yeah, so I'm actually a lymphoma survivor, but being a cancer survivor of almost 15 years in general, I am a huge advocate for screenings and paying attention to your body in general. So if it wouldn't have been for me to just feel uncomfortable or feel a lump in my neck, and the diagnosis of a tumor on my heart when I was 17 would have never happened. And currently going through my annual cancer screenings, and actually had a breast biopsy myself as a breast cancer scare. So to me, I think talking today to the women in the room to anybody really in the room, being an advocate for those going through treatment. I think the biggest part about this is it's a journey, and we can't do it together, or without being together, I should say. We can't do it alone. So from the doctors, the research, to the Pink Fund, who is paying actual real life bills for families, is truly remarkable.
That was a remarkable statement that she made, and I had the pleasure of hearing her last year as well, and just each year it just becomes a little bit more accelerated in terms of the cause. And you're supporting other women, and that's what's really that's what it's about. It's just being supportive and helping other people, and that smile is beautiful, and we're very grateful that you're here with us today, sharing it with us, and also everything that you do, outreach, and just the initiatives that you support. So thank you for everything that you do, Rachel.
Thank you. Honestly, partners like yourself, partners like the Lebanese Chamber, I mean, the partners all here today, it really is the time more than ever where society needs to be together. And it's our goal with my company, and even personally, to just make sure we have an effort to join everyone together for the better good of the community.
And that, my dear, is what we're going to close on. And thank you for everything that you do. Thank you all for being with us today on Off the Cuff here at Maggiano's Little Italy. We'll see you again next time.